Hello, everyone. Erin, it's Monday afternoon, and this past Saturday was my dad's funeral. So I want to share a little bit about that. My family and I went down to my mom's house on Thursday because she had a meeting with her financial advisor to talk about settling out my dad's accounts and all that kind of stuff. And I attended that with her. She's been kind of brain fogged since my dad's passing as she moves through all of the grief of losing her partner of 45, 46, I don't know, lots of years. So, anyway, we attended the meeting with the financial advisor on Thursday. On Friday, we spent some time preparing the rosebuds that we had on the tables at the luncheon that followed my dad's funeral. And I brought with me all of the printed materials. So I had designed the program for my dad's funeral, and that included a couple of additional inserts, one with information about where to donate, another with the songs that we sang during his service. So I took those all to my mom's house. I cut down the pieces that needed to be cut down and folded the programs and kind of created their enclosures. And we tied ribbons around the rosebud vases and clipped the rosebuds. My sister and Brant helped me with that. It's really cute, really pretty. We used orange and blue Astros colors because my dad absolutely loved the Astros. And then on the actual day of the funeral, I ended up getting up really early to finish out the slideshow. So there was a television in the corner of the room where the funeral was held, and we played a slideshow of photos from my dad's life, which I'll append to the end of this video. My mom and my sister and I needed to be at the funeral home by 9 a.m. So Brant and the boys went out to the barbecue place and they handled decorating the tables. It's a big room, seats a lot of people, and we had planned for a luncheon for up to 100 guests. So we brought square white napkins and the rosebud vases that sat on the center of the tables to kind of just dress them up a little bit. I'm from a small rural area. It's a casual place, and that was, more than what was required. It turned out really nicely. At the funeral home, we got the slideshow going. She played playlists that I had prepared of songs from my dad's era, from bands that he liked. And we put out a couple of different things. And there were the programs that we printed. We had some photo boards with pictures from his life. And then up at the front, we had my dad's ashes in his urn, a beautiful photo of my dad that had been donated and just looked absolutely wonderful. And then we had some artifacts, including some of his favorite baseball caps, representing his love for our hometown football team and Astros, as well as Southwest Texas State University, which is what he attended. It's now called Texas State. A few different people sent flowers. We received a beautiful plant from my father in law and his wife, another one from my sister's father in law and his wife. My mom got a beautiful flower spray to sit next to at the urn. My aunt and uncle donated a really big funeral spray, and there was also a plant that was sent by the city we lived in. My dad was super involved in civics, and I thought that the fact that he received a plant from the city was just a testament to that involvement. So, anyway, it was really beautiful. Guests started arriving around 10 a.m. We were so pleased and thrilled that all three of his sisters were able to be there with portions of their families. We don't get to see his sisters who live further north in Texas very often. And so that was especially wonderful. And the service was officiated by my cousin, Chris, my dad's nephew. And that was also really special. I did some speaking as well. My sister and I co wrote a portion to reflect on some memories of my dad. And that was incredibly hard to do. I really thought that I, was going to be fine and I would be able to deliver the speech no problem. But looking out and seeing all of the faces of those in attendance was a challenge I just completely had not anticipated. So many people from my dad's life and my life. People from ranging from like his third grade teacher was there. So many people that we grew up with, neighbors from the home that I grew up in, all of these various people that he'd worked with, all of the family. I was so thrilled that two of my close friends from college were in attendance. One of my close friends from high school was there. So I felt personally very supported. My mother in law, father in law, and just so many others were there. So looking out at all of their faces during the funeral made it really hard to not just break down and cry. But I didn't. I sniffled a lot, but I didn't break down and cry. And we sang a couple of songs during the service. And then afterwards, we all met up at the local barbecue place in their banquet room. And I think we had over 100 people at the funeral home for his service and probably around 85 or so people out at the barbecue house for the lunch. And it was really wonderful. So after that ended, we came back to my mom's house and her brother and sister and their families hung out with us all afternoon. We talked, shared memories, talked about my dad, etc. My husband Brant and my brother-in-law went and picked up flowers from the nursing home and brought all of that back. And then later that evening, my friend from high school came and joined the younger folks from our family to hang out and enjoy some of the leftover barbecue that they'd sent us home with. So that was a really good day, but a long one. And I was exhausted by the time 10 p.m. rolled around. We woke up and cleaned up and wrapped up yesterday, Sunday, and made the drive home. And we were almost all the way back when I realized that I had left my computer at my mom's house. So we had to turn around, go back, get the computer, and come back again. We came home, finished unpacking. And then this morning we were up and at 'em because my son had his first day of strength and conditioning camp that started at 6:45 a.m. But after I dropped him off, I fell back asleep and got another several hours of sleep. And I am still exhausted because even though it was such a special weekend, it was a exhausting one as well. So now all the dust is settling and the ceremony has taken place. I'm looking forward to the coming weeks because we've got some family time scheduled, but also we've got some stuff related to Alzheimer's. Next week, my mom will join me for a trip to Washington, D.C., where we'll be advocating for the Bridge Act. I believe I've talked to you all about the Bridge Act before on this channel, but the Bridge Act aims to eliminate the waiting period for Medicare for those diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's disease so that those people who are under 65 and otherwise not yet eligible for Medicare can get access to today's approved therapies in the earliest parts of the disease, which is when they need to receive treatments in order for it to be most effective. And I'm so excited that my mom gets to join me for that trip. I've also got my MRI coming up to check the safety of the clinical trial that I've been on to determine whether I've experienced any brain bleeds, which hopefully I haven't. And then I've got my third dose of the trial drug or placebo because I'm not sure what I'm on. And that'll be the Friday. So next week will be almost entirely dedicated to Alzheimer's disease. And I look forward to keeping you updated about all of that. At this point, I'm going to wrap up the speaking portion of the video and transition to sharing the slideshow that we made for my dad. All right. Thank you so much for checking in on our journey and following along with us. And I'll catch you again soon.